Yashar, the then only would be the lowest one, I guess, from what we talked about last week. The projection.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I it's certainly lower than the Tzaddik and Yashar. The question is the Tzaddik you know, I don't know if it works analogously that the Yashar, the one who's straight, straight of heart, um, is the Tzaddik Gamor, right? Is the complete Tzaddik. I mean, obviously you have to be the one would have to be a Tzaddik Gamor, would have to be a straight, but can one be a Yashar without being a Tzaddik Gamor? Are there times where we can each be a Yashar and then not Yashar? I think that's most people. Let's see what Lucas has in the Kutimran about some of those ideas. Let's deal with like the light and the tzaddik and things like that, and first. These are lessons we've gone over for a long time ago. The first lesson of the Kutimran is dealing with this issue. I'm going to skip over the very famous part of, how he starts off, but it's just ki ish Israeli, right? Every member of Am Yisrael, tzarich tamid yistakel b'haseichel shel kol davar. He has to look and see the seichel, intellect, God's divinity in every single thing. That's what he means by the seichel shel kol davar, right? Not just like the genetic code and everything, but like, right, not the molecular structure. Although you can use that as a imprint of God's oneness, right? But he has to see like the nikuda tova, so to speak, the potential, the God potential in every little thing, right? And connect himself to the wisdom and the divine intellect, right? Because that's what seichel is the divine intellect. So that's not talking about the lower seichel, the divine intellect that there's in every single thing. So we have to connect like our mind to that. In order, and here comes the word, here's light, right? Kedei shia'ir, in order to enlighten, lo, shia'ir lo haseichel sheyesh b'chol davar, mitkarev Hashem yibrach ayidei oto hadavar, right? To draw his intellect, his godly intellect, that part where his neshama is hidden within, right? The unconscious, subconscious part of himself that is really godly. I'm putting our own modern lingo into this. That there is in every, it connects, like we're in harmony with those things, but each one of us is separate because we don't recognize the divinity in each one. So by recognizing in light, we lighten up our mind. Like light here is used as inspiration. To draw close to Hashem through this thing, meaning whatever thing I see, and I see Hashem's divinity within that thing. What does it mean, divinity? It means his spark, his seichel, his the root of godliness in that thing is nothing's really truly mundane, right? So by doing that, I draw close to the light of the Creator. So we'll see how this connects to your the idea that tzaddik so light in the tzaddik.
And is that light of the Creator the Shekhinah? Or is that
no? That's something else. That's something else. The light of the Creator. We're going to get to the light of the Creator. We'll learn a little bit of the Torah Aleph, not the whole thing, just this part, just the little first part here, and then we'll switch to Nun Dalet, the 54th, and I hope it'll help us out a little bit. Ki haseichel or gadol, says the intellect, the godly intellect, is a great light. By the way, we see already, we're going to start seeing where this matches up with the Tanya. Umeir lo b'chol darchav, and it enlightens every way, every path for him. What kind of path? The path of God, where he's supposed to walk with the path, walk in the ways of God. So the seichel enlightens the way he needs to go. The neshama is the seichel, it rests inside the seichel, the intellect, the true intellect. And the mind, who got all this for his mind is the heart. The heart is really where the 8 sarim are. And it's the mind and the seichel for Rabbi Nachman are two separate things. Where when the Baltani's talking is all kind of one idea, and there's the heart is kind of, but it's the same idea, right? The heart and the mind, like, it doesn't mean the physical heart when things are really struggling. It's really the two Yetzarim, and the more we nullify ourselves to the godly intellect within us as being divine creatures, then we can draw that down into us and battle out that, the nefesh bahamit. Everything kind of fits together. Zeh b'chinas Yaakov, ki Yaakov zacha levahora hu reshit, hu b'chinas hachma, right? Oh, sorry. It's good. Hachmat adam te'ir panav. This is Kohelet. The wisdom of man lightens his face. It lightens his face, right? You see the wisdom of man in the light of his face. And this is an aspect of Yaakov, because Yaakov is merited the firstborn status, right? Because Chachma, there's Reshit Chachma. It says in Tehillim, Kuf Yud Aleph. Reshit Chachma. The first thing is wisdom, and Chachma is light. And Yaakov had Chachma, as we know, like he's the firstborn. He becomes the Bechor, sorry, and he has light. And Zeh Bechinat, this is connected to the way he got the Bechor, the way he got the Bechorah, which is V'yakveni Zeh Pamayim. Right, Yosef says that he tricked me twice. What was it saying? Torgum Onkelos, V'hakmani, right? V'yakveni, the Targum changes it to Chachma. He uses his wisdom, his wits, his intellect to flip him around. Zeh b'chinas shemesh. This is the aspect that is connected to the sun. Ki haseichel hu meir lo b'chol derchav b'chol k'mo shemesh. Because this intellect is lightening up the ways, his pathways through life, like the sun shines down on our pathways, our physical pathways. Zeh b'chinas ba'orach tzaddikim ka'or nogah holech ba'or ad nachon hayom. And the light of the Tzaddikim is like the light of the shine of the light, the rays of the light that go in the light. It goes and lightens throughout the day. The sun increases throughout the day. Chet. Sorry, the word chet. Lashon chiyut, life force. Ki hachma v'haseichel hu hachiyut shel kol davar. Because wisdom and intellect, they are the life force of every single thing. And Hashem is enlivening the whole world with his seichel, with the ultimate, that's what God is, right? This ultimate sort of cosmic, this infinite seichel. It's basically hidden within it. We'll find out it's hidden within everything. And our job is to kind of uncover that using our own mind, our own godly, kind of our hookup to the mainframe, so to speak. It's just our consciousness is disconnect or feels that we're disconnected from the mainframe. Our job through our whole life, is we've discussed many times, is to become conscious of that hookup.
Is that how Hashem sows light?
The tzaddik, to the degree he is connected to the mainframe or connected to the Torah, is the way he gets interconnected to his light, the light of Hashem.
The light is always there. Hashem's always shining.
That's right.
We connect or we don't. So
that's right.
He's
to the degree he connects to Torah, follows the Torah, is the degree he's connected to Hashem's light, which is why he's a tzaddik.
But the light is already sown. We just have to plug into it.
Yes, but to allow it to sort of, reveal itself to us by trying to find the light in the world, by trying to find Hashem's wisdom and divine seichel embedded all in the creation. So that's how the tzaddik works, right? And he goes on, right? He goes on to this, and the opposite of this is true towards Esav. He's a malchut. He goes into malchut. Sorry, he goes to the seichel, and the nun is the malchut, and the malchut, the nun without the malchut, without the kingship, without the seichel, without the light, it just becomes evil right away. It falls away, which is what we have, right? That's what ends up happening a lot of times. Is that we don't fill it up with the light of God, wisdom of God, the seichel of God. We don't get in touch with our neshama. So the malchut, which is really our physical element, the nefesh bahamit, right? It's here. I see the correlation comes in back in the Talmud, the nefesh bahamit, the animal soul, the animal physicality which is nothing. It's only evil to the extent that we allow it to be evil, that we don't rule over it. The tzaddik part of ourselves doesn't rule over it. The tzaddik part of ourselves is the part of ourselves, the Yaakov part of ourselves, not the Esav part. The Yaakov part of ourselves, which tries to rule over the Esav part of ourselves, which needs to rule over. Without that, the Esav overtakes and the Malchut becomes empty of light. Right? He goes into that. I'm just paraphrasing, so we don't have to use up the whole class in just this piece. But okay, so that sets up the idea of the tzaddik, the lightest son of the tzaddik. We're going to come to the Yashar. I think we'll see how we can fit this all together in Rabbi Nachman and plug it back into here. We're going to Nundala real quick. These are pieces we've done before, but Rabbi Nachman is multi-layered, so we can see different parts to it differently when we ask questions, like you did. So Rabbi Nachman says, Ki tzrichin, this is in the 54th lesson. Ki tzrichin l'shmor ma'od et hazikaron. It's very important to guard your memory, one's memory. What memory? Shelo yipol l'shchicha, so he doesn't fall into forgetting. B'chinet mitat lev. The forgetting is connected to the death of one's heart. And we know that he says in other places, godliness, elokut, godliness, not the neshama, but godliness rests in one's heart. To the degree one's midot reflect midot of Hashem, meaning the heart is straight. We're going to get to Yashar soon. The straightness of the heart, which is what you were asked, right? Straightness of the heart is like the straightness of the mind. To the degree it's straightened out, we'll get to that soon, is the degree of memory one has, and what kind of memory we need to do this. If not, if you forget what? Forget what you're supposed to be doing here. What does that mean, really? Here's what they say: is your heart dies because you're not really in touch with who you are. Yeah, you're just in touch with some sort of, physical desires or false intuitions, or once again, it all fits through like klipot, distorted cognitive, triggers, things like that. The ikar zikaron, the main memory. This is a powerful chidush. I always come back to this. Who liskor tamid ba'amad da'ati. He should remember constantly the world to come. Shlo yeh b'dato has v'shalom. That it shouldn't be, that it will not be in his consciousness. She'ein olam el echad, that he doesn't think there's only one world, this world. Because we know, I think we've gone over before, what he thinks of this world. This is probably Gehenna. He says in almost the final part of the Kutim, this is Gehenna. I don't know if we've gone over it before, but it's very powerful, kind of like almost alleviation of like, oh, that's why all these things are happening to me. And I've been sent down to this Gehenna, and I have to actually get myself out of it, so to speak. Because obviously these are pinimiyot, right? So that you shouldn't forget there's something after this world. Mainly because we came from that world. Our souls came from that world, and we came from down to this world, and we're going to go back to that world. And that's the real world. That's the world that we came from, the world of the ideal, the world where the unconscious, so to speak, the unconscious neshama that's within us becomes awakened in its full extent. Right? I'm putting that in there, but this is important to.
Is that like a book where it says, and remember before whom you will stand?
I think that's one layer of it. And the other layer of it is recognize that there's a real reality behind this. That you should forget in your daily comings and goings if there's something going on. Right? That he should connect his consciousness to Olam Haba. It's not just he should remember this Olam Haba. It's a pretty powerful idea. That really, that's where my consciousness belongs, in that world, in the world that I don't have a consciousness of right now because I'm in the physical. I should try my best to crack it. Pretty wild. He did put some caveats on this. We shouldn't go walking around like Buddhists. I'll skip that part. We should remember, constantly remember world to come. In general and in specific, we should connect our minds to it. In general, what does this mean? The people who are God-fearers, they have a tradition. As soon as they wake up in the morning, before they start anything, they should remember right away. There's another world out there. I'm like Pirkei Avot says, right? There's the world. This world is a prose door, a tunnel to a hallway to the next world. The next world is mass. This is totally infinite. That's the world. That's really the real reality. This is just a short time down here. And you do this specifically how? And this is go get to the point here. This entire world, who there is it's enclothing the lower levels of holiness. These are the legs of holiness. This is that's in Isaiah 66, chapter 66, verse Aleph. Af shagam madrigot elionot shel kedusha yesh behem gam hitgalut ba'olam hazeh. Even the upper levels of kedusha still is a revelation of olam hazeh. However, she'ein hitgalut mitabesh be'etzem hazeh olam. But they don't really find a way to be enclosed down here. We can't really interact with them. Ki'im ha'erat. Here comes light again. This is the Ki'im ha'era shemeir b'chinet raglin aval b'chinet raglin galim be'etzem hazeh olam. That we're just seeing, I'll just paraphrase, we're just seeing the kind of the light of the legs of the holiness, so to speak, in this world. We're not really getting a full sense of things, which is why the real way to do this is just to connect this idea of this infinite world behind this world. And every day there is a thought, speech, and action. Sounds familiar, right? This is the point I'm trying to get to about the Tzaddikim in sof ad ein tachlit. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he constricts himself, right, his godliness, right, from this infinite level ad nekudat hamerkaz she'olam gashmi she'omed alav, into this really small point, into the center of the universe. Umazmin l'chol adam, and he releases to every person a machshava dibur maaseh, a thought, speech, or action, l'fi hayom, l'fi adam, l'fi makom, according to the day, according to the person, and according to the place. Everybody's getting these hints from HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the Bria. Umabishlo, bezot machshava dibur maaseh mazmin lo ramazim kedei lakarvo la'avodato. He releases these as hints through the creation to each person. Now we're seeing how this matches up to Aleph. We're supposed to look, what's the Seichel Shebachal Davar that we're supposed to find? The intellect, got the light, so to speak, the intellect and light of that. That's what we learn from them. The intellect and light, when we use the word light, it means intellect, inspiration, or intellect. So what's the light of Hashem we're supposed to see in every single thing? That's the Hashem, my experience of the world is God speaking to me. And to the degree that I go into the creation and find the light of God for me, is the degree that is the degree I'll be in touch with him, the things he wants me to do. But I can only get there the more I learn Torah. That's the caveat. You can't just be like a meditative person flowing through the universe and get this for real, because I'm going to screw it up. I'm not really going to iron out my brain. And this, we'll get to the Yashar in a second. Does it make sense? So what it is, so is the light for the Tzaddikim, to the degree that Tzaddik, so to speak, is in touch with the messages of the God's sending him through the creation, is to the degree that the light, he'll sow the light within him. But he has to give way. He has to only use the seichel of the Torah to do it. And it goes on to that same idea. Okay. Now we'll discuss the Yashar, and then we can plug it back in. Find it. Beginning part. Ah, I think so. Believe so. Ah, okay. The Yashar. The Tzaddik from the Yashar. The Tzaddik. Tzaddik is goes through life. The Tzaddik that Rav Kook's talking about is the Tzaddik that goes through life and he's building himself in a very programmatic way, right? Because he's building himself in Torah and he's understanding what Hashem wants from one, using the Torah as a blueprint on creation, understand how Hashem's messages are, right? So we said that's the light of creation that he's sowing himself, right? He's right being sown into him. What about the Yashar? This is the fifth lesson in Likud Imran, Piska Gimel, the third piece. Ikar has simcha hu belev. The main joy is in the heart, right? Sameach bechalko, right? What is gratitude? That's really real joy, real simcha is when his sameach bechalko. He's okay with whatever he has. So it's really the heart here is the mind. We understand that. That's how it plays itself out. Where there's the mind, the intellect, it's all in this brain. But the brain, there's a part of the brain which is a hookup to the neshama, and there's a part of the brain which is hook up to the ruach, which is where the world of the emotions are, the emotive responses. That's why it's analogous to the lev. The if shar lev l'smoach. It's impossible for the heart to be joyful. Ella ad unless ad shias. This is key. Ad shiasir akmimuyut shibilibo. Shielo Yashrut Lev. Yashar, Yashrut, right? Unless he straightens out the crookedness in his heart. That it will be to him a Yashrut Lev, a straight heart. Yashrut, Yashar. Az Yiskel Ismoach, Simcha. Then he'll be merit joy. So what's a Yashar? One was joy. So I think what we're seeing here is there's the tzaddik, which is like I said, he's sort of like he does everything right. Is it the tzaddik v'ralo? There's some sort of like still a leftover. Maybe that's true. Maybe you could look at it that way. The heart's still not complete. Possibly. But he doesn't have true simcha yet. He's not truly samech b'chelko. So Yashar is samech b'chelko. Yashar is his heart straightened out. His heart straightened out. He doesn't have this achmiyot belief. We'll see where we go with this. Well, Yeshrei lev simcha. The heart is the Yeshrei lev, one who has the straight of the heart. One who are straight in the heart have joy. Akmimuyut b'shebelev mafshitim ayidei ra'amim. Right, the crookedness that's in one's heart is done away with. It's broken. It's mafshitim. It's like alleviated of that. What through ra'amim, noises, ram, noise, glass. This past week's parsha, right? It says in Gemara Bracha, Lo nivru ra'amim ela lefashit Achmayot should believe. It says in the Gemara itself. Rabbi Nachman's not, it's not some Kabbalistic idea. He's saying the Gemara says it. The blast, I guess the thunder blast, the blasts were only created to lefashet achmayot, to straighten out, to smooth out the crookedness, right? To straighten out the crookedness in the heart. Ura'amim hu bechinat kol sha'adam mortzia b'koach b'tfilato. The ra'amim, the blasts, they what are they connected to? The voice of a person that goes out in force in his prayer, in power. Right? Tati! Right? The degree I just powerful. This makes ra'amim. Meaning for him, Rabbi Nachman saying, listen, I'm fitting into what the question, right? There's a tzaddikim that they're, they do everything right. Faust, the Shulchan Aruch from A to Z, Aleph to Aleph Taf, and they're great. They might even have some they have misameach, but the true simcha, the true level of the Yashar seems to be, because we know Rav Kook was super to Rabbi Nachman, right? So I always like to say, he says Yashar, let's see what Rabbi Nachman says about Yashar. The Yashar for Rabbi Nachman is the person who takes his tefillah to the point where it straightens out the part of his heart, which is still a little bit crooked. It's not there yet. It's not completely Yashar, and that's why he isn't full simcha yet. He's not full simcha. He only gets there through tefillah, through the powerful tefillah. He goes out of the Zohar. He goes through, but the idea is there. That's the idea. I don't know if that helps. But let's shrink it down. We have the idea of the tzaddik who's attached to the light of Hashem, and he's able to use the Torah to navigate the bria in a way which it builds, let's say, halacha. He's using halachot, which is when the gematria of halacha is kli tool, and he's using those like that, and then the next stage is that, and by doing so, he's able to sort of like identify Hashem's will for his own life, his own path, and he's filling the kelim up with light because of that, and it's working fine. And then, like you said, Rav Kook says the Yashar is higher. So why is the Yashar higher? Because he's sameh b'chelko. There's simcha there, because he's totally straightened out. His heart isn't being pulled, even in a subconscious sense. So I guess you could say that not that one's a tzaddik dama versus tzaddik. We're patch it back into here. Tzaddik tovlo v'tzaddik ra'alo. But that I guess you can't get to tzaddik v'tovlo without being Yashar, without having simcha, without having full tefillah, right? You can't actually get there. That's for sure. I wouldn't say it's always the case that the Yashar is completely a tzaddik, but for sure you can't get to there without it, right? Now, they asked the question of the Benoni. I think once again the Benoni is the person that's struggling. That when he's aware, he's not messing up, but he's constantly in a struggle, an existential crisis. Is his life the way it should be? No. And therefore he struggles between the tzaddik and the Russia inside of him, constantly being pulled back and forth. Because that war is constantly going on. Where it's going on in his heart. He can't even get to this part. But sometimes you can leap over you can hit to the Yashrut a little bit, taste. Like we've said, like basically, like Patani says, sometimes we do tap in the tzaddik part of ourselves, so we can have a taste of this, taste of the Yashrut, the straightness, the Ra'ami, the straightening out my heart. Because when you hit, like he says, when you hit the tzaddik part that time, before you fall back into the struggle, He does. He feels like got it. It's all down. Everything's working. You know that's where this is. The Benoni is constantly struggling. It does sound when you learn out the Benoni. We learned out last time that none of us fit in the Benoni. Right? We all mess up. We all get to we all kind of like, all right, no one's perfect. Right? He seems to indicate the Benoni it doesn't even really mess up so much. It's just the struggle. But I think probably in the conscience sense, when he's conscious and aware, he doesn't actively maliciously mess up. But it would have to be there's a struggle constantly, and when he struggles and he falls, he does. It would have to be when he messes up, but it's not really him. It's that the false sense of who he is, which is what the Rasha is, the Esav inside of him. That's what Rabbi Nachman said. Like, you really know Yid is a Rasha. It's that the Esav is that element of the Malchut, the Risha, the evil Malchut that wants to be like free of this theistic sort of it's a positive existential like goal, which is sort of like redeeming the world. Esav doesn't want that. Not in a Sitra Achra Klalistic global like sort of sense that we're dealing with now, and or within us. And so like our attraction to evil as humanity is attraction to the path of Esav, which is like, I don't want the burden. And that's the struggle. That's really that struggle of Benoni. I don't want the burden sometimes, so I let it go, right? That's what we all say. The reality is that we have to be ourselves, we have to have that burden. We have to reach higher. We have to, grow. That's the way I see it, at least. Cool. Karen.